So, we've been testing a bunch of new 3D software lately, and some of you in the comments are a little bit worried about the future of being a 3D modeler. Saying things like, modelers are cooked in 2025, and after all the new toys that I've tried in the last 2 weeks, today I just wanted to give you guys some peace of mind and explain why I disagree, and I don't think that 3D artists are cooked, and why I think we're still going to be around in the future, the same way that 2D artists are still going to be around in the future. And just to be clear about my opinion on using 3D generated models, I see it as almost the exact same thing as getting an asset from the marketplace, finding out it has god-awful topology, and then spending the next hour or two cleaning it up. Like, it literally feels like the exact same process. So sometimes you get lucky and the model is usable out of the box, and other times you just have to heavily modify it to fit it to your needs for your project. So that's my personal stance on it. I don't think it's particularly good or bad. When it works, it's great, but when it doesn't, kind of sucks, but you can always just manually fix it the old-fashioned way. So with that being said, the question we're going to be answering today is, are 3D artists still going to be important despite 3D generative technology being a thing now? A common sentiment that I keep seeing pop up is, why would you hire someone to do something that they could generate themselves? And the simple answer is, they don't have time. Think about it like this. If you are in a big AAA company, you are not hired there because nobody knows how to do your job. In fact, there's probably multiple people in that building that can 3D model better than you will ever be able to in your life. But the reason that you are hired is because the lead 3D artists need to spend their time doing more important things. Now, if you're talking about a small business, then that's a little bit different, but the same principle generally still applies. If you're working at a restaurant as a waiter, there's a high chance the boss isn't hiring you because they themselves do not know how to wait tables. He's hiring you because he needs to spend his time manning the cashier, checking the kitchen, making sure the food shipments are being delivered on time. Make sense? Remember, the most common reason that people hire other people is to save time. So let's take this example further and go into the field of a small 3D company. Let's say your boss is a programmer and he's thinking about hiring people to do the music, to do the effects, and the 3D art. If you've used this stuff before, then you know there's a long wait time between when you hit the button and you receive the model. And when you do receive the model, the topology pretty much always needs to be redone. And similar to a AAA studio, just because there are tools that can generate 3D models, I'm pretty sure the programming director does not want to spend hours of his day on 3D generation websites praying to God that it pops out the perfect character. Because they probably have better, more important things that they need to be doing instead. Because when he's wasting his time trying to generate models, he could have been programming and developing the gameplay and the engine. Now, if we look at the opposite scenario, let's say you have a programming director and he is actually looking to hire someone specifically to use AI-generated modeling software to make the background assets for a project. Logically, ask yourself, do you think he's going to hire a random person like an accountant or a plumber for this position? Or do you think he's going to hire someone who actually has traditional 3D modeling experience and the ability to go in and manually fix things when needed? Obviously, he's going to pick the person who can do both. You will always still want a capable 3D artist behind the wheel to have the knowledge and skill to be able to recognize when the 3D model is good or usable or not. And finally, if you really don't want to use AI, there's now a new third option that you can take advantage of, which is there is a new demand for pure human-made art that did not exist before. So if you really want to keep doing 3D modeling the old-fashioned way, you can specifically target and apply to the companies that are only accepting manual 100% human work applicants. Similar to how there's still people making a living as a professional penman or an old-fashioned canvas painter, these jobs will continue to exist. They're just going to become more niche. So, 3D art positions are still going to be around in the future because it's a very niche skill set that is intrinsically tied to countless fields. Even if you were somehow able to get a 3D model generated perfectly on your first try, which is not going to happen, you would still need someone to rig it. You would still need someone to animate it. You would still need someone to check and make sure that everything is bending and weight painted properly. You would still need drivers to make sure the deformations are perfect. You would still need someone to go in and fix all the facial animations. And when the model fails to export correctly from Blender to Unreal, you would need someone to debug and figure out why. So, you see where I'm going with this? You don't have to be all doom and gloom out here. I know with so much change happening so fast that uncertainty is making everyone feel uneasy, but I genuinely also believe that really the best way to stop being afraid of something is to just make sure you understand it. I mean, that's the main reason that I keep sharing what I find with you guys here each week. Regardless about how I feel about the emergent technology, I don't want to get blindsided by it and let it take me by surprise. I'd rather be on the forefront, staying up to to date, knowing exactly what it's capable of and exactly what its weaknesses are. And when you do that, you can start to find ways to use the technology to help speed up your workflow and improve things around you. So that's the mentality I have when I'm approaching this. So hopefully by showing you guys how these things work, it demystifies it a little bit. Thanks for watching, and as always, hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you around.